Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm your writer.
Also joining us is Evgeni.
Hey, what up, nerds? I'm Argent.
We also got Grace.
Hello, I'm thegatorgirl.
And lastly, we got Ben.
Hello, I am Ben, also known as Overlord Jebus.
Great. We're going to talk about more words of Brandon. And if there's an AMA, we might need to do another one of these later. That currently has not occurred as time of recording, but there might be some more pretty soon. As we said last time, WoBs are secondary canon, but you know, Brandon can change his mind, but there's also a lot of good stuff here. So, I'll start us off. We got
Rhythm of War spoilers.
Oh yes. Yes, there will be Rhythm of War spoilers, 100%, and Cosmere spoilers. The WoBs go where WoBs go. That's just how it works. All right, so Starman 2995, who owned the red chicken and what was its purpose? That's the one in Lift's interlude. And Brandon says the red chicken was owned by the fair chemist who was keeping an eye on Dalnar in his house. Good to know that guy is a fair chemist, even though we all kind of knew that. So that's a man named Gera.
I wouldn't say all, because I was looking at chat. I was looking at YouTube chat when
they were very confused. Yeah, that was quite amusing.
People's heads exploded when Brandon casually dropped Ferrochemist in there.
Be suspicious of anyone wearing rings. He's in the prologue as well, and in Lift's interlude. So, yep.
Good old Gary.
Yeah.
Good old Gary.
Yep. So, yeah, but it was really funny looking at chat. But yeah, that guy's a fair chemist.
So this next one is from Hesse's Ward.
Love that.
Where the Sons of Honor, a splinter group of the Invisitors. Brandon, Raffo, but let's just say you have the relationship backward. Hesse's Ward, what about the Sealay Invisitors Kaladin saw while flying with the storm? Brandon, Raffo.
How's that first one on Raffle? Brandon just answered the question.
Yeah.
He can change his mind on Raffos, within the same sentence.
Yeah, he does.
It's probably like Raffo and how exactly did the Invisitors break off from the Sons of Honor?
Yeah.
But that does imply that the Sons of Honor are a much older organization than I had thought.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with Kalak being there, like, there could be all manner of weird crap going on with them historically, right?
Yeah. They're probably some kind of project of Kalak's for him to get off world.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Or it's just like people being crazy and leaving off and doing their own thing.
I like that we're getting more Invisitor lore. I like that. It's cool.
And speaking of Invisitors, something that has nothing to do with them. Frosty911 asks, was the maximum amount of bondsmiths set at 3 even historically? And Brandon says that there have never been more than 3 bondsmiths at any one time.
Which we did know. And the frustrating thing is that this is not the actual question the person asked. This is the version of the question that Adam read out.
Yep.
What did the person actually ask?
Is the maximum amount of bondsmiths still set at 3 as it was historically?
That is importantly different.
Which is a much more interesting question.
Yes.
Unless the answer is just no.
Well, but even then, it tells us that, because obviously what this is trying to get at is like Janat bondsmith and Baro Mishram bondsmith and things like that. And the actual question and answer don't help us with that at all.
Yeah.
So this next one was asked by James Smallwood. Can the Voidsprint bonded by the Regals be killed and become Deadeyes? Brandon. Voidsprint bonded by the Regals. Right, okay. I'll raffo that for now. I haven't gotten to the mechanics of the Regals as much as I eventually want to get into it. Let's just say something weird is happening to make Deadeyes. They didn't exist before the Recreants. There should be a relationship here that reminds you of something else you've seen in the Cosmere.
Yeah, the last line is the important one, right?
Yeah.
I would not think that Voidspren bonded by the Regals would become Deadeye, because that's different mechanically than what's happening with Radiant bonds, I think. So.
Yeah, because there are no oaths involved.
There's
in
no.
this.
But I think the thing that the 17 Shard Discord, the relationship there, like the Sions, and the Rayod and Elantris.
Yeah. I know some people have brought up the idea that the shades on Threnody might be the thing that this is what this is referring to. I don't see the parallels as much as I see them with Sions and the Rayod. Because both with Sions and Deadeyes, we have something that was fine and it was great, and then something went wrong, and now the thing is broken and kind of mindless.
I think the comparison there is that like shades aren't as aware as other forms of cognitive shadows in the Cosmere.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm more inclined to think the Sions is the connection we should be looking at, but
yeah, I see the argument behind the shades because, like, you know, they just wander about, but then they react very violently to certain stimuli. You know, kind of the screaming when they get summoned, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the next question was asked by Kim Bobby, who asked, "Is it possible to surge bind using gaseous investiture other than Roshars?" To which Brandon said that Rosharans are bad at naming things because they would call the metallic arts surge binding, but Chris would disagree with that because the Rosharans would just call everything surge binding. The Arcana of the Cosmere they would just call surge binding.
Right.
But other people within the world would disagree with that. What Brandon there says, what you're really asking is, can someone, one of the Rosharan, the Nightly Radiant Orders, could they power that with a different form of investiture from another planet? And yes, this is possible. There might be some difficulties in making it work, which I haven't explained entirely yet. But yes, this is possible. In fact, it is possible to power all of the different magics with the different forms of investiture. That is a possibility.
Sure.
This is one of the reasons why Mraze and Thydakar are so interested in Stormlight.
Right.
Yes, there's a bit of back and forth about like ethically sustainable investiture and philosophy, but we do end on a point that says we will explore Thydakar's relationship with that in the future books.
Good.
So yes.
We've seen in other... Oh, this is another thing with Thydakar, as we said last time. But you have seen in other books the lengths that Thydakar is willing to take in order to achieve his goals. So if you were... It's Kelsier. Like, come on. Like,
I don't know. Kenton tried really hard.
Shut up. Cool. Makes sense that, like, given enough hackery, you could make all the investiture work. But yeah, it's going to be difficult in some ways.
Yeah. I like how, as well, there's an argument I've had people with surge binding and about whether it's fundamental to everything in the Cosmere or whether it's just a name Rosharans give that stuff. I fall on the Chris side of things, where it's just a Rosharan thing, but I've met people who think it's a whole Cosmere-wide thing, and so it's nice to know that is a disagreement within the Cosmere as well. So we can continue arguing forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, Drew Berg asks, is Tien Spren still around, or are they recovering like Syl did after her prior Radiant's death? And Brandon says, we'll ref with that. Tien Spren is not going to be a Deadeye. Tien didn't break his oaths. Tien was killed. So, cool. Makes sense. He was going to be a Lightweaver, but then he died.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to meet his Spren.
Yes.
What if his Spren was just pattern? Wait, does the timing work out for that? I think it does.
It could.
Yes, iffy. What if it was design?
I was going to say, what if it's design?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they're probably in exactly the same situation as design was after Elhokar's death, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just lost, yeah.
Right.
This next one is from Jeremy Mayhew. If Adolin said the first oath to Maya, would the Stormfather have to accept it if Maya did? Brandon. No, not necessarily. There's more going on here. Even if Maya would, Does he mean the oath? Is he wanting to be part of that order? There are so many things that could prevent. And even, would the Stormfather be the one answering in that case? Which would probably be a no. All kinds of versions of no to that question, though it is a good question. And so I definitely think it would be Corvelli who have asked She Who Brings the Dews at Dawn, who would be accepting that oath.
Agreed.
Yeah, that checks out. Next question asks about can whatever Ishar is doing to the Spren, so the experiments with bringing them into the physical realm, help Thydakar with his issue, which is the cognitive shadow issue and like whatever. Brown says, in a roundabout way, possibly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go with that one.
If it was a direct yes, then that'd be nice. How roundabout would this be?
Yeah, I think what this is getting at is that so obviously Ishar is looking into manifesting cognitive entities fully into the physical realm with like their own bodies and their like actual living organs and stuff. And so I think what Brandon is saying is that there is a way to make something like that work, to take a cognitive entity and turn it into a physical entity. But the way Ishar is going on about it is not the way.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so Kevin Andres asked, in the vision Dalnar had in the Way of Kings, where he was flying with another Radiant, he asks how to summon his armor, and the Radiant he's with acts confused and tell him to talk to the Quartermaster, or something along those lines. Did Radiants lend out their armor to lower rank Radiants? And Brandon said, that did happen in the past. Which makes sense if like 5th level Radiants took up more of a command position. They don't have much use for armor anymore.
I like that this question was asked because after the Kaladin scene, I was like, but what about that Radiant in that one vision who said he needed to talk to was it Milishi? Or the
Harkelain. Yeah.
And I was like, why would they have to talk to Harkelain about their their plate? But the fact, I liked the idea that, it's because maybe they were borrowing someone else's plate.
Right, except what the Windrunner says is talk to Harkelain or speak with your Spren.
Right.
And so I don't think anything about the scene has changed. I think this is I think Harkelain was the bondsmith at that time. Yeah. Obviously somebody like who's well versed in connection. And so hey, either speak with your Spren about your connection to the plate or speak with the bondsmith about your connection with the plate.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But makes sense because you can give shard blades to a person that it's not bonded to with intent things. So you could presumably do that with plate as well. Totally cool.
Yeah. Okay, so this question was asked by Jamleon, who asked, what happened to Plamry in Dawnshard when he and Nickley were stranded to keep them from interfering?
I think there was a bunch where Brandon was like, who are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he forgot who Plamry was, it seems.
Plamry was the they were sent off to the mainland of Amia, and Nickley escaped, and no mention of Plamry later.
Plamry was Nickley's like assistant, so like
right.
Nickley was Plamry's boss. So yeah. Brandon said he was not involved in any of it. He got left when his friend and superior melted into bugs. He's probably having a hard time with that. He was left there and then recovered at the end of the book after the last chapter. I believe that's what you're asking. Plamry is okay physically, but it does to various people to watch people that you've known melt into bugs. Depends on the individual. So yeah, I imagine watching your boss melt into bugs is quite the experience.
Oh, Plamry.
Good old Plamry.
That is super relatable thing, just watching your boss melt into bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hate when it happens.
Yeah.
Just like, it's just another Tuesday.
Again.
You only do this when I ask for a raise. There's
Excellent. This next one is a nice confirmation. It just makes things easier. But Benjamin Susla asks, did Hoyd confirm that cultivation is a dragon? Brandon, I don't know if Hoyd did, but I confirm it for you. Cultivation is. We kind of knew that there was an implication from a Reddit word of Brandon. So, but that's nice. And Brandon said it's not a secret. So, cool.
Okay. Next up is Richard Reynolds. Who owns the shop that Kaladin finds the missing flute and the wooden horse? Is it anyone significant?
It's a good
Brandon,
question.
there is significance to how those items arrived there, but the significance does not directly involve the person selling them.
What? This makes perfect sense to me. This is absolutely 100. Brandon added something into the Cosmere called Fortune. And what Fortune allows you to do is, if you're the main character of a book, it allows interesting and convenient things to happen around you. He added this for this purpose. And so that's what's happened here. That's what happened here.
Maybe Destiny.
Destiny,
Or-
baby.
Yeah.
The sleepless following Kaladin thought that he could make a little extra cash by picking up lost items.
That actually works too.
But I do think this is part of his Wheel of Time showing, where it's like sometimes things, the wheel weaves as the wheel wills. Like
Right.
sometimes the pattern stuff happens
Yeah.
because it's convenient.
Yes. It's called Fortune or Destiny or whatever you want to call it. You know.
Haver and what have you.
This is probably going to be one of those things that is like, is it divine intervention? Are there like mechanical reasons for this stuff to be happening? Who knows? We'll never get an answer.
Oh, but don't you want to talk about that on the TN podcast? Because I kind of do. That vision's weird. Cool. So that is actually the end of the spoiler live stream. The rest of the stuff we had are I went through pages of Words of Brandon to collect the rest of these, and I went through to about June, I think, and I figured we've probably got most of the interesting things. So there's some stuff from the Rhythm of War preview chapters, some other miscellaneous Reddit stuff, and also stuff from the Dawnshard annotations that I don't think we talked about when we got there. So
Miscellaneous
stuff that we missed.
So the Rio Kami asks, no fake Kamis here.
Not a sleepless. Confirmed.
Asks about the thrill and hey, they just chucked it in the ocean. What's up with that?
Yes. We needed to have this one.
Also, do we just lack info, or did Yasna allow something that powerful to simply be tossed away and hope no one finds it? And Brent says that the beta readers also had similar concerns, and the team kept pushing for him to include something in the books, but he never have found the right place. It is more secure than you think.
What does that mean?
I love that the questioner was like, why would Yasna let this happen? Why would Yasna let this happen?
I understand why the dumb characters would do this.
I'm very curious if he was asked that on a spoiler live stream, if he would have explained or if he would save that. But I have no idea what this even means. Is with the sea people at the bottom of the ocean? I don't know.
Atlantis.
I think so. Someone's said they just wrapped it in aluminium and threw it in the ocean. And I like that.
That does not seem more secure.
It seems slightly more secure to me.
Technically, I guess.
Yeah.
So what I think is, I don't know if this is true, but it's a plausible thing. I think Yasna had people on the other side, waiting to it's not the thrill is not in the bottom of the ocean. It is somewhere in Shadesmar being safeguarded by someone.
Yeah, I like the idea of we're gonna drop it in the middle of the ocean was just a
wink, wink.
misdirection.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it is more secure, because before this really just seemed it can't be in Eurythir because Eurythir gets captured in the book. So, because normally you'd think Eurythir is the most secure place. So,
But yes, I definitely want more information on that because I thought this was really dumb. So
it is really dumb.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't confirm. Betas did have questions on it.
So Asmodeus asked, just as a point of clarification, was Vasher physically articulating his commands in this chapter, or is he capable of bypassing that need for whatever reasoning?
That was a scene where they were fighting Kaladin.
Yeah. Brandon said, you can assume he whispered each command as he gave them.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yep, I know in Rhythm of Previews there was extensive discussion on that, so that is good to know. Cool.
The next one was asked by Sophandrius TW, who asked, what would Murray's answer, since he doesn't lie, if someone asked him, where are you from? To which Brandon replied, Murray's would truthfully say he is from Roshar. Well, that he was born on Roshar.
Cool. That's good to know.
Yep.
Ooh. This next one's nice. Especially because this is pre-Rhythm of War, so it's interesting. Sophandrius TW also asks, would it be correct to speak of Vyre and Moash like only one person? I mean, they actually look like different people. Brandon, they are one person, but his identity is a little wonky at times. Then someone else says, does that mean Moash has dissociative tendencies similar to Shallan? Vyre mouthing off to the Fused is very different from Moash being dead inside an Oathbringer. Brandon, no, this is more about whether he sees himself still as Moash and such. It will be more clear as the book progresses, and certainly there is a part where there's the Vyre interlude, but he switches back to Moash when thinking of Kaladin. So
yeah,
and clearly that's intentional.
Also, when does he look different depending on whether he's Vyre or Moash?
When he's Moash, he wears a blue Bridgefour uniform.
Oh, okay.
He wears a black Bridgefour uniform.
Very different.
It's actually the same uniform. It's just half of it is blue, the other half is black. And whenever he switches,
he's like Two-Face.
He just turns.
The camera just turns.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with it's one of those reversible jackets.
You can dye the jacket to pure black, but only one side of it. Okay, only one side.
Oh, the poor tailor.
Seriously. Well, this is good. That means we don't need to move the Moash Coppermine page to Vyre, so because it's weird. So we'll just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
I think there was a commenter complaining that we don't refer to him as Vyre, so we could point to this one. It's confusing.
He is inconsistent himself.
Yep.
This next one is from Zuberzub S.
Excellent.
Just to double check my understanding of things, Odium is still mostly bound on Braze, right? Just that he can influence things on Roshar because of proximity?
Good question.
Yeah. I treat Braze, Ashen, and Roshar as if they were almost one entity for a lot of identity/connection related issues. It's more than proximity, though proximity leads to it. We on Earth, I feel, would consider the Moon and even Mars to be ours, so to speak, part of our family of planets. Odium's binding and that of the Heralds/Fused encompasses Roshar and Ashen. There are some subtle distinctions, but for the most part, being bound on Braze is the same as being bound on Roshar. Braze 7, so Shadesmar is only from Roshar or from the 3 planets. Brendan, you can reach all 3 through Shadesmar with a much shorter trip than to other systems. But the map we provide so far is only Roshar, which is a very interesting clarification.
True.
Fantine, have you come up with a name for their star? Rather than just being the Rosharan system. Brennan, by people in world, it's being referred to as the Rosharan system. This is kind of confusing to us because we focus on the suns to orient what makes a system, but in the Cosmere, they travel directly to planets. And so the biggest trading planet becomes a source of naming conventions in most places. I agree it's a little confusing for us, but I believe it's the way it would naturally arise for them. Uthnar on the topic of the Rosharan solar system, do we get to learn about the significance of the 10 gas giants? Were they there before the shards ever made their home there? Is that the origin of the significance in the context of the Cosmere's natural laws? Brandon, Raffo, I'm afraid.
So a lot of stuff here.
Yes.
I like the naming convention thing not being focused on stars, because I do think that makes a lot of sense, because we are not going into spaceships there. You're going through perpendicularities. Rashar has a bunch of them. Makes sense.
It's kind of
Yeah, and it makes sense why in the Dromanad system, everything is named according to Elikin naming patterns. When there's multiple societies, and even the Elikin aren't the dominant ones on their planet.
Right.
But they're the ones that have Patchy and the AVR, so they're the ones that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really nice and interesting kind of attention to detail moment that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to bring up is where Brandon talks about how Ashen Braze and Rashar are the same for most intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Except in some, I almost decided not to use that phrase. With some notable exceptions, and I think one of those exceptions is like the Fused and the Oath Pact, because the Fused seem to get pulled back and bound to Braze specifically, and they can't go back to Rashar until the Heralds do their so that's one of these exceptions, I think.
The reason I'm kind of like side-eyeing this hard is because the only time that it matters that the three are separate is when it's these exceptions, if that makes sense. Like, the only people continuously crossing planets and that are bound to specific planets are the exceptions to this rule. So who does the rule apply to? Does that mean all three shards can move between all three planets? No problem?
I think
no problem. Yeah.
A shard invested on one of these planets can affect the other planets fairly easily. Like, they can't affect like Scadrial.
Right.
Okay.
Like these, like it's kind of like a cul-de-sac. Like you can, it's easy to get to the other ones.
Yeah, I always thought of honor and cultivation being on Roshar and not Ashen, and then Odium being on Braze and not Roshar or Ashen. So
I think this means that in the back half, Brandon wants the Radiants to travel to Ashen and Braze without having to deal with Spren leaving and the issues that causes.
And that's just what I was thinking.
That makes sense.
That
makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
That means they can also go to the moons, no problem as well.
Oh, baby. Cool. But also interesting that the Shadesmar map is just the Roshar one, so the Ashen and Braze on the cognitive realm side
are off the border.
Yeah, off the border. That's right.
Well, I mean, we always knew that because the map looks like the continent.
Well, right, yeah, right.
There's been some discussion of like whether or not like they are like directly bordered, or if there's like and like you can see the edges of them on the map, but
still don't
here
know
it's like it's explicit.
Still don't know what like a nexus is on that frickin' map. Like we have no idea.
Yeah.
Like expanse, different subastral. Okay, I kind of get it. What's the nexus of transition? No idea. What? Because there's 3 nexuses on that map. So it's not like one's Ashen and one's Braze, right?
Yeah. It's like I think it was the Nexi that were discussed.
Right.
That I was thinking of.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We have transition. We have imagination.
Oh, I don't remember the other one. Without looking at the map.
Okay. Whatever.
Yep. Yeah. There's more than 2. That's the important thing.
So Ketamine asks, so the total number of the fused is around 100. Is Odium unwilling or unable to create new fused? Bren says he is able, but so far he hasn't. And there are more than 100 fused. And then Ketamine cites a thing from chapter 14.
When they're gathering at the meeting.
Yeah. where Venli is thinking there are about 30 voices, but then once all the fused are awakened, there will be up to 100. And Bren says 100 voices representing fused important enough to deserve a place in this meeting. Fused below Leshwi's rank, wouldn't have a voice. Is a mistake to make. Maybe something I should have tweaked in the book to make it more clear.
That's a nice clarification.
Yeah. What do we think the number of fused are? I'm thinking thousands. Be thousands, right?
I think hundreds.
I think 1,000 would probably be the max, personally.
I'm just thinking, like, if Leshwi had, like, what, 30 Shanayim in her, like,
50,
squadron?
50,
50?
So 50 or 60 when they attacked the bridge, like 50
And she's
something.
like, yeah, she's like the lowest rank. So, like,
Well, I wouldn't say
The
she's
other
the
fuse would
lowest
have-
rank.
she's like just high enough to make it to those meetings, but low enough to not
Yeah,
actually have any
yeah,
responsibility.
well,
yeah.
Lowest in relative to that meeting. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See what you're
it's relative to that meeting. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's like
I
other
don't think-
people would have more people under them.
Yeah, so if there's 100 like leaders,
But it's
Yeah.
I think it's like the Knights Radiant, the Shemaine, the Windrunners, largest order. The others aren't
Yeah.
gonna have that many.
right.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
very few Nexim, right?
yes, yeah.
So I would probably say an upper bound of like a couple of thousand at most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of neat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. So now we got some Dawnshard stuff.
Yep. So Maury Willow said, "You once told us that one of the Dawnshards was different from the others. As of the events of the novella, is that still true?" Brandon said yes.
Very interesting.
So it's not that one of them was stuck in a mural.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes.
That's
Sure.
that's what this is saying. Like,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's weird.
It's interesting.
One
Yeah.
of the questions I've been wanting to ask Brandon is, what book will we find out more about Dawnshards? I guess Dragonsteel?
Probably.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I think they'll be more important back 5. I just don't think they're going to be relevant in book 5,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right? Because we
Yeah.
got to see like Ishar doing crap with Dawnshards on Ashen, right? In flashbacks.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one was sent in by Fully Operational, who asked, why didn't the Sleepless have a guard watching the Dawnshard? So Brandon said they did, but only a couple of Hordlings to give warning. They never thought in a million years that intruders would absorb the Dawnshard. It wasn't seen as possible for a variety of reasons that someday might be clear. Up until the moment of realizing what had happened, they assumed they were in complete control, as the humans were locked into a place with no other exit, and there were swarms blocking the way back out through the water.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Which makes the thing that happened with Risen so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. They thought that wouldn't happen, but all that seemed to happen is she just walked up to it and it was like, take me.
Yeah, but she was like chosen by like Cheery and like Great
Yeah.
Shells, so like there's some prerequisites, but there's clearly some sort of mechanics going on there that they thought that would not be stolen.
Yeah, some connection stuff, fortune stuff,
Maybe.
destiny stuff,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
spiritual stuff.
Definitely.
When
yeah.
in doubt, blame the spiritual realm.
That's a good. That's good. She Heartless asks, does that mean Rissen's now immortal? Is a Dawnshard a shard along the same lines as Odium/Honor, or is it a combination of 4 of that type of shards, or are Dawnshards entirely separate? Brandon says, Raffo on most, but the Dawnshards predate the shattering, so there's something other than traditional shards. Similar, but distinct in some ways. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely say there's a lot of distinctions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe there are some similarities.
Yeah, I was going to say the similarities are what really interest me, because they really don't seem very similar at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think the similarity is that they each have a theme, like the command or like the intent.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
A person
I wonder-
becomes them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if what we are looking at is shards are kind of the ultimate expression of intent, whereas Dawnshards are the ultimate expression of commands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of once you put all of that together, so you take all of the intents and all of the commands, you end up with ad nauseam, even though the Dawnshards
predate the shattering, you know.
They predate the shattering, but they don't predate ad nauseam.
Yeah. God, the Dawnshards are so crazy. Like,
So
I kind of, since that Dawnshard episode, we've been doing so much Rhythm of War stuff that it's almost like hard to remember how crazy that paragraph is.
Yeah.
It's like spending so long with the shards as the most powerful beings in the Cosmere, and Brandon's like, by the way, here's 4 more. And it's like,
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one is from Gerbil. So Rizen's Dawnshard was totally used with surge binding to make the Dawn cities, right? E.g., the giant windbreaks in Kulinar that everyone wonders, how did they make those? That would seem outside the power level of radiant soul casting. Brandon, let's just say this is a linguistic connection I expected people to make. Also, creation of the Dawn cities and or Ethereum is beyond the scope of what a Radiant, or even a group of them working together, could create via soul casting. Though note, it's not beyond the scope of what surge binding itself could do.
So that's interesting given 2 things. Like last time we said that pre-Oaths the Radiants were lower power level. I assume however the Dawn Singers got surge binding like abilities is more on that power scale and not on a Radiant scale. That's
Possibly.
my assumption.
in my head, the Dawn Cities. So the Dawn Cities were made by a bunch of Dawn singers just singing a song together, just a big group of them.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that it cannot just be that. Because if they're not Radiant powered, this is saying that not even Radiants working together can do that. So what I'm saying is, presumably they require a Dawnshard.
Okay.
Right?
I'm wondering if there's some sort of trick here, because he says working together, you couldn't create this via soul casting.
Well, okay, that's true.
But so it could be but you could do it with stone shaping.
Stone shaping,
Which I don't know if I like that, but I think it is a valid
I guess that's true.
trick Brennan could be playing.
The Dawn cities do feel very, very stone shapy, right? Especially now that we've seen in Van Lee's visions how the Dawn Singers could shape the stone into whatever they needed to be. It is conceivable that a lot of them could do something on a scale this big.
I just don't think that the Dawn Singers are more powerful than a fully powered Radiant. I just don't think that's true.
Yeah.
So that implies to me that they needed a Dawnshard. You can supercharge stone shaping to do that.
They needed something. I don't know whether or not it was a Dawnshard. If the timeline works for that.
Sure,
There's definitely shenanigans happened.
Yeah.
But is it a question of power, or is it more how the deepest ones use the surge of cohesion differently from how the Stonewards do? They're not necessarily more powerful, but they have a lot more versatility and control, or at least a different kind of versatility and control than a Stoneward or Willshaper would.
So if you had, say, for example, a form, a singer had a form of power which gave them a small amount of stone shaping ability. If you had thousands of those forms of power, then you could arguably raise a city just by getting each one to individually raise a small amount of a wall and have them standing in a formation. That's kind of a group of Radiants, probably couldn't do this, but the difference is that Singers' forms are far more numerous, and they have things going on with them where they're more connected to Roshan and stuff.
I don't buy that personally.
I feel like too many voices would be too many. Like it's too many cooks in the kitchen.
But
To have like, because like the Dawn cities are like this single like massive pattern that I don't think the number of people it would take to do that manually, like there wouldn't be a cohesive vision that would be as smooth.
So you say that.
But I think you're probably going to say the thing I'm going to say is the Everstorm.
Everstorm.
The reason that I've always had this image in my head is the image of the thousands of storm forms summoning the Everstorm. You know, these guys were able to sing a song in, you know, they're far more able to, what's the word when two people sing with each other at the same time? What's that called?
Synchronize?
Yeah, like harmonize. Like they can harmonize, and you can have a massive group of people. You know, they always talk about how the Parshendi are able to be far more organized in war because they can sing a song together, and they can, you know, that kind of thing. So that's kind of how I see it. They summoned a storm to Roshar. Obviously, it's a very different situation because you had Shard
there's
involved.
a lot of prerequisites to that actually working. That was not just a bunch of them singing.
Yeah,
there was way more stuff going on there.
That's kind of how I imagine things happening. You get thousands of form of power, can sing a song together, and they can, and you can make things happen.
I just see that fully powered Radiance can do just like a crazy amount of things already that, like, why couldn't humans over thousands of years make new ones of these? And they don't, right? So that makes me think that there needs to be a Dawnshard involved.
Okay.
It's just it's too much.
Yeah.
But like higher levels of surge binding you can. And I think the easiest way to do that would be with a Dawnshard. Especially with the Dawns in the name, you know?
Yeah, Dawn is in the name, that's the thing. And then, as Dawn Singers, it's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
That's probably something we can touch more on in a different kind of episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's go and talk about skepping.
Oh boy.
Which is something Lutheran Telescope asks. Delana refers to this by name as a technique the Windrunners are practicing. And it's also the thing that Ishar does where he makes his underblade disappears and then like reappear to skip the enemy's block. Is this something advanced Deadblade wielders can still do, or only something Radiance and Underblade wielders can do? It can be practiced, says Brandon, but it's not nearly as hard as it would have been in the Way of Kings Prime version, so it's not a major plot point anymore.
Yeah, I hadn't read Way of Kings Prime, but yeah, apparently that is a big deal there. So
okay, so our very own Windrunner, David, asked, we have been introduced to two ways to refer to a magic system up until Rhythm of War. Chris has referred to manifestations of investiture in the context of the metallic arts, and elsewhere has used the term invested arts, which seem to be the in-world term for a magic system. However, Rhythm of War has now introduced the term arcana. Is this a synonym for invested art, or a term for a specific sort of power set, like stone shaping or light weaving, that might be present in different forms in multiple invested arts throughout the Cosmere? Brandon, for the first question, arcana isn't really either of those things. Invested arts would still be the official title. Whereas arcana is more of a simple, more colloquial catch-all. It's like maybe the difference between saying Olympic categories and just sports.
What a great question.
Great question.
What about manifestations of investiture?
Oh god, yeah, I don't even
coming out of this question.
I don't. But at least the difference between arcana and invested art makes sense. Like the microorganisms giving abilities to AVR, like that's not an invested art, but there's magical things going on, right? So like like arcana is just magical effects. That's
Brandon just doesn't want to use the word magic.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I also really like the word arcana, so I'm happy that it's in the Cosmere now.
I mean, that's fine. I just now want to know the difference between a manifestation of investiture and invested art.
Well, that's the follow-up.
Yeah. Cool. From Windrunner 17 again.
Yeah.
The other one is me trying to understand bondsmiths a bit for their article. NLR uses his power to heal the buildings in Thalen City, and what he does not seem to be a straightforward application of a surge. Is he making use of tension and adhesion, or some mix of them both? I realize that sometimes things may not easily fall into one category or another, so I'd accept any sort of clarification on this. To which Brandon said, what Dalinar did is a mixture of abilities and a spiritual connection that is only possible to a bondsmith. Cool.
Guys, I got it.
Windrunner 17 guy asked really good questions. Like, we should do something with him.
Additionally, I do love the zeal for Coppermind editing. It's like, I'd really like a clarification to make this easier, because I know for a fact Jess asked that bead question to help her Shadesmar article that we talked about in the last episode of these. So
what I'm getting out of this is that Dalinar is bondsmithing in that scene.
Yes. Perfect use of the word.
Grace?
I like how fans were like arguing if it was like tension or adhesion or spiritual mumbo jumbo, and Britt's like, it's a combination of all
It's
three.
all of them.
All three of them.
Why not?
I'm just happy that it's not just adhesion, because that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's true. That does make no sense, indeed. It's just the way that it was originally stated in Oathbringer and then retconned, and all this just makes it much more confusing than I think Brandon intended it to be. You know?
Agreed.
Well, this one was not retconned, was it?
Well, I mean, the Stormfather originally said, oh, yeah, so Stoneward is the same surge. And then later it's like, it's not the same surge. Like, it was changed. I would say that is a retcon.
No, but like that was a different scene is what I'm saying. Like,
well, yeah, but it was referring
to
the statue scene.
No, it was referring to, in a vision, a Radiant creating stones out of a thing. But I definitely think Brennan wrote Oathbringer thinking bondsmiths had cohesion. And I totally think he wrote that as using cohesion. And now he's had to back off on that.
And now he's bondsmithing.
And now he's bondsmithing. he's bondsmithing it good. All right. Gerbil asks, are bondsmiths spren created as a matter of intent by shards, or are they natural insofar as any spren made of enough investiture would create a bondsmith bond? That is, for example, the Everstorm is clearly a giant mass of Odium's investiture. If someone were to bond its spren, which presumably is very young and insensate currently, would it form a bondsmith bond as a matter of supernatural laws, or would Odium have to tweak something on a metaphysical level to allow a bondsmith bond to form? Brandon, it would not naturally become a bondsmith spren, as it's not just the amount of investiture that makes one. For example, there's that odd spren in Eyrie that has a ton of investiture, but didn't become a radiant spren. To become a radiant spren requires some different things. Cusicesh lore, yeah.
I'm like shocked. I'm like, Brandon mentioning Cusicesh?
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
It's like mentioning Curse of Kind offhandedly, like, where it's just like, oh yeah, Axis has the Curse of Kind. You're like, wait, what? Same interlude. That Axis interlude.
Yeah.
What I'm getting out of this question is, how much bond would a bondsmith spren bond with a bondsmith spren could bond spren?
Yeah. Seriously though. But that's
a really great question. Yeah.
Yeah. I very much it's not just the amount of investiture, and Cusicesh has a bunch of investiture. Interesting.
Yeah.
So the other thing that is coming out of this is that for a spren like Janat or Baromishram to become a bondsmith spren, if they are not already one, it would require something to either have happened or to happen in the future. Like, so like the Thrill, for example, wouldn't be a bondsmith spren in all likelihood, even though it's super invested.
You probably need, the spren would at least probably need some sapience, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But that's probably not
And-
sufficient.
And probably even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Necessary, but not sufficient.
It's also interesting. So the Rider of Storms was kind of a crucial spren to
Right.
Roshar for a long time. We
Mhm.
don't know when the Night Watcher was created,
No.
although it was obviously she was obviously created by cultivation, so it must have been post like cultivation's arrival to the planet. But the sibling was specifically created to combat Odium and his forces. So obviously Bondsmith's like the requirement is not some inherent ancient connection with Roshar. Like you can obviously get those spren to show up at various points in the history of the planet.
Sure.
The Rider of Storms all the way back pre-Shattering, Night Watcher post Cultivation's arrival, and the sibling like after the like everything goes down.
I think it's
So there's hope.
Yeah, and I think it's possible that, like, depending on the Unmaid's origins, like, Ba'aramishram and Janat could potentially, like, if they were important to Roshar long ago, that could still be on the cards, and maybe because of that ancient past, maybe they don't. Maybe those prerequisites are already there. We don't really know.
Yeah, I think I think I like the idea of Janat, of Ba'aramishram already meeting these requirements,
I like
and
it too.
of Janat being eligible to meet
I like that
them.
too.
I like that.
I like that.
I think creating ODS Bondsmith's brand sounds like something Teravangian would do.
Oh, definitely.
Ooh, now that's cool.
Oh, man.
Because Teravangian could maybe adjust Janat a bit.
But see, like I want Shanat to do it in defiance of Odium.
Yeah. Well, maybe Janat and the new Odium get along well. We don't know.
I hope not.
That's a really good
I
question.
like Shanat.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Rebel.
Janat too. Yeah. Things are different now. We don't know where these things are going to go.
So next question is from Delvin. Is it a coincidence that Dalinar was touched by all 3 Rosharan shards? Does it have any significance for the plot, or is this something I should not ponder about? I think there is something big in store for Dalinar. This is a very well-phrased question. I just want to point that out. I love this question. Brennan, it is significant that Dalinar was touched by all 3 shards.
I do think Book 5 is going to be big for Dalinar. That's for sure.
Brandon has promised us not another Mistborn ending, so the significance of that is interesting.
Yeah. And Brandon had his book off. Now he has to get back into the fight.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what that means for Dalinar though. Like,
I don't know.
More viewpoints. That's what it means.
he is connected to all of them. And connection is a prerequisite for a lot of stuff in the Cosmere, but
Right.
but because it is a prerequisite for a lot of stuff,
It's hard to say anything specific or useful, right? Cool.
Cool.
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steel Triceps asks, I'm going to make the assumption that Relaine will have the same basic powers as Renarin. And Brandon raffles that for now, though you can assume basic similarities between their powers. But Relaine's deeper connection to the rhythms might tweak his powers somewhat.
So, in other words, totally not a Raffo, and I just answered the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think we might see something similar to Venli being a listener, giving her the connection to stone shaping.
Yeah, because obviously, like, the stone's responding as like, oh, hey, a singer. That's interesting.
Yeah. So if I guess if we were to compare, let's say, Zu, the Stoneward woman, with Venli, if we were to compare their stone shaping,
Sure.
we would see large similarities and small differences, and that would be mimicked by Renarin and Relaine.
Yeah.
Although they do belong to the same order, so I don't know.
So I think Singer Radiance, there's going to be like a standard deviation away from like human radiance and how they reflect.
Sure.
And I wouldn't be surprised if like Singer Radiance are somewhere between a human radiant and a fused in their application of their surges.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have like all of the abilities of like the fused with the surge, but like something closer to that.
I don't know. We really didn't see Venli's stone shaping look anything like the deepest one, so I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that these are corrupted Spren, so that's another like aspect of deviation.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Funky radiant.
Looking forward to finding out what our corrupted Truthwatcher boyfriends can do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Enlightened Truthwatcher boyfriends.
Sorry, enlightened Truthwatcher
That's
boyfriends.
Okay, so Zarin1 asked, will we get a further definition on what Ray's meant when he said, "We killed you," as Dalinar merged the realms at the end of Book 3? Brandon, I don't know for sure if I will give more on that or not. So for now, it's a Raffo.
Brandon, you better.
What?
You better. Yeah, like, what does that mean? What does that
How
mean?
could you not? Like,
Yeah.
Why not just say I killed you then? Like, right?
how
Race
is
is dead? So
How could he not give us more information on that? I don't.
maybe not in book, but we can prod him after book 10, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, let me just put this on my calendar for 2045.
Yeah. Set a reminder.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, he better. Is all I'm saying.
You better, yeah. Because if odium and cultivation work together to kill honor, then and we find that out eventually, then that's giving us more information on that. You know, he has to give us more information on this eventually. Like you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the next one was asked by I'm Krypton. If there was any shard to be offered to Hoyd, it would be this one, Whimsy. Brandon said, Hoyd is far too calculating and deliberate for Whimsy. It might seem his style on the surface, but a deep dive into who he is would show that it's very much not who he is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Didger then asked follow-up, will we ever see the world or magic system for Whimsy? And Brandon said, someday, hopefully.
Kite magic?
Kite magic, like
Kite magic,
Yeah.
Kind of confirms that Whimsy is on a world with a magic system.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That is the case.
Yeah. Not the shard that is in space with yeah.
Space.
This next one is more just a response as to why Relaine was not on the Bridge 4 poster, and that is just because he didn't want to spoil that he gets Stormlight in Rhythm of War. And apparently he's not the only exception, that he hoped to get Drehi, who's modeled off a real-life friend, into the group, but there wasn't space. So I guess, because he did, when the poster was out, there's like, it's intentional that Relaine's not on here, so like, I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we got this reason because I saw a lot of people joking about how the reason was because Relaine is always forgotten about in the books, and so Brandon just forgot about him, and
But
that's why it was
better
like,
for a
wink,
spoiler
you know?
reason, you know?
Yeah.
Next question. Mender asked, is the wells pulsing a pure tone of Scadrial? Brandon. Yup.
Good.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Yeah, we talked about this in more depth, or speculated at least, in our Lights episode.
Yeah, so, I mean, totally makes sense.
So, great confirmation, love it.
Yep.
Next question once again comes from Lusterin Telescope. Says, does Ba Ado Mishram mean child of the light of cultivation and honor? And Brandon raffles that, but you are doing a pretty good job picking apart the linguistics of that. And so there's a little bit of background here that I'm not 100% familiar with because I haven't kept up with the discussion. But I think the key components here are Ba being evocative of the BAH that we see in Risen Ba Vistim.
Sure. Okay.
Mhm.
So like it could be something to do with being of or child, right?
Mhm.
Ado being shortening of the Adoda glyph, which means light.
Right.
And we see that being a key component of all of the lights glyphs that we see in the Rhythm of War glyphs page.
Or Adolin.
And
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. And we have Mishram, which I think somebody was speculating was a combination of Mishim and Maram. And they
from
also speculated
Amaram,
that Maram was, God, I don't remember, but like an old version of Merem, which we know to mean honor.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
so
there's a vowel
Mishim-
shift in Alethea
Yeah.
on point. So like
the same
collab-
vowel shift as Kalakilek. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mishim being the green moon, the middle moon.
Mhm.
Is it the middle? No, it's the small one. But it's Cultivation's moon, right?
The green one.
Yeah. Cultivation's moon. And so we have Ba, which may be child or like kind of apprenticeship, paternal relationship, this kind of stuff. Ado, light. Mishram, Mishim, Maram, cultivation, honor. So that's kind of the breakdown of the whole thing. 80% of it.
That is some damn good linguistics. I thought you were going to get to the Mishram bit and be like, Mishram we don't really know, but that is damn good.
It's
I like that a lot.
discussed a lot on the Discord.
Yeah. Asmodeus and Luz Theron Telescope. That's for sure. Especially after our Bad Mishram episode. But it's just interesting that Kalak, refers to Bad Mishram as Mishram, right? So that's an interesting aspect going along with this.
If Ado means light, then the Ba Ado part might have been added after she figured out how to give void light.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting that she has 2 hyphens.
Yeah.
She's the only one made with that.
Okay, so Simon asked, is Hoyt still holding his Dawnshard? Hoyt's Dawnshard is a Rapho.
Okay.
And they then followed that up with, if not, is the Dawnshard currently held by Risen the same as Hoyd's or a different one? To which Brenda said, it's the same one.
I think, because reading ahead, I read this, I think he means same as in this is a Rapho. Because if he's Raphoing whether or not Hoyd still has a Dawnshard, Hoyd and Risen can't both be holding the same Dawnshard at the same time.
Okay, so that one's also a Rapho. Okay, so he just did say...
I think so.
I
cool,
don't know.
Because I was going to say, for him to reveal that that's like if he revealed, with the changed Dawnshard.
Why wouldn't he
that's
just say
Hoyd's.
Rapho then? Like, why is
I
that
don't
one
know,
missing?
but like
Eric from the future coming into you guys to give some clarification to this argument. So it turns out Ian's totally right. Brandon later commented that he meant same as in Rapho. I am not going to cut any of this, so enjoy us arguing about something that is answered. So there you go.
it logically doesn't make sense for it not to be Raphael. Because like if Risen is holding the Dawnshard, Hoyd can't be holding the Dawnshard.
Yeah, but there's no problem. Like, Hoyd doesn't necessarily need to still have his Dawnshard.
No,
Yeah, he's asking if it's the same one.
Is he still holding the Dawnshard?
No. The question is it the same as Hoyd's or different?
But the first question, is Hoyd still holding his Dawnshard? Raphael. So it's whether or not Hoyd...
Yeah, and then the second one is the Dawnshard that Risen held the same or different to Hoyd's?
But if it's the same one, then like the first one can't be a Raphael because like we know he's not holding it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like the second question is answering the first one, if that's what same means.
I just don't know why he wouldn't just say same. like, why wouldn't he just say Raffo? Like, he
I
would
don't
normally just say Raffo. Like, if it's is this Dawnshard the same or different? And Brandon said same.
Yeah.
So, he
so
would have just
hard.
said Raffo.
I strongly disagree because I think the fact that revealing what Dawnshard Hoyd held is a huge.
Yeah, that's my thing as well, is that would be a huge reveal. Because I'm sitting here and I was reading it, and I was like, wait, he revealed which Dawnshard Hoyd had? I don't remember that. But we should probably mention as well that this is all in the same post on Reddit. Even though we did it as two different WoBs, this is all in the same post. So I'm actually inclined to agree with Ian. I think he's just saying that this is also a Raffo, as in same the answer to number one, which is this is a Raffo.
I am iffy about the whole thing. Like, it definitely reads like Brandon is saying it is the same Dawnshard.
Yeah.
But just for meta reasons, like, this is so nonchalant. It's such a big reveal that I have to be a little skeptical.
Yeah.
So the next one, Nickley mentions 4 Dawnshards. Are there more than that? And Brandon says there are only 4 Dawnshards.
And the final question they ask is, are all the Dawnshards currently, as of Stormlight 4, on Roshar or in the Rosharan system? And Brandon raffles on whether they are on this planet or not.
I just don't understand why, like, same is not, like, he's clearly mimicking that exact phrase in the question, whereas in 2 other locations he's just totally fine saying Raffo. That's the thing.
This last sentence makes me agree with Ian now.
And here's the other thing. He has said before that Hoyd used to be a Dawnshard, which says that Hoyd is no longer a Dawnshard. So he's already answered that first question.
I don't know the exact phrasing on that.
Yeah, because like alternative, like he's also going like Hoyd is a Dawnshard, is a Raffo. Same being like, okay, like I just said Raffo, like referencing back to the previous question. I think it is more ambiguous than Brandon was very unclear here.
Yeah, I'm erring on the side of this isn't revealing which Dawnshard Hoyd had, because that feels like a huge thing to me. And if he's specifically saying, no, we're Raffoing everything to do with Orders Dawnshard, why would he say that immediately after revealing which one he had?
Yeah, I guess. I just he has typically no issue repeatedly Raffoing, and not just like he usually doesn't say it like this.
Agreed.
He really does not.
Agreed.
On a less important word of Brandon, I would go with you, but with something as big as this, I want to be cautious.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it just doesn't make sense to me for Brandon to be revealing what Dawnshard Hoyd held at this point in time.
Yeah.
But okay. So our final WoB of the episode,
excellent,
is from Mori Willow. In part 1, Navani says that some of the Fabrials they found in Earthiru worked in ways they understood, but had Spren trapped in Shadesmar, which by the end we know refers to Spren that have manifested as a Fabrial, with Soulcasters being the only ones that confuse her. Is the intent here supposed to be for us to make the connection that the older Fabrials they found used the different types of metals used in modern Fabrials, or is it supposed to be vague how exactly they can't compare for now? Brandon, the confusion here is that Navani didn't realize that Soulcasters were a version of something like a Shardlight. She thought that by seeing Spren in Shadesmar, it meant that the Soulcasters had somehow trapped a Spren, but they didn't seem to be trapped in a gemstone anywhere in the physical realm. This is what bugged her. It's less about the metal and more about where is the trapped Spren. I know it's there. I can see it in Shadesmar. Mori. Oh, okay, thank you. A brief follow-up. Does this mean that all the old manifested Spren Fabrials, like the attractors and conjoiners they found in Earthiru and were able to improve, had weird metals like Soulcasters? If it was just their identifiable functions that kept them from being confusing? Brandon, yes, that is correct. This was regarding old manifested Fabrials having weird metals as part of them.
Cool.
Okay.
So I guess if a Spren chooses to become a Fabrial, the metals don't matter.
Yeah, because you just kind of become on a cultivation issue, maybe.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to be manifest as bronze to create an alerter Fabrial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't think a Spren even could manifest as bronze.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
But that does
like a
actually
goblin.
clear up a lot, I feel. Particularly with Earthiru.
Yeah. Huh.
Because it's kind of similar to how, like, in Hemalurgy, you can use Adium for anything.
Yeah.
You can use,
okay.
god metals to replicate, like, in terms of Fabrials, like, any ability.
But maybe the Spren just has to intend to
I
be
was
the right
actually about to say.
Bringing it back.
Were some of the were some of the Fabrials in Eurytheru, such as elevators, such as attractors and pressure pumps that do the water stuff, those were separate Spren that were not the sibling.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And then the sibling was other stuff. Because my impression is that a lot of the tower is the sibling.
Yeah, so it's like the air pressure and heating, I think, is the sibling. Probably other things.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Because, okay, so this reminds me of that scene where, like, Navani was speaking with her scientists up on top of the cloud walk, and they were telling her how the pressure rises ahead of the storm, and the temperature also rises, and she's like, oh, so it's like the tower is bracing for the storm. So it would make sense for these effects to be tied to the sibling directly, because the sibling is like preparing the environment for humans to weather the storm. But things like the elevators, they don't need to be controlled in this way. They can be normal, quote unquote, Fabrials. Except normal as the ancients saw normal Fabrials, which means Spren manifested as objects.
Yeah. And it might be also as like the newer Fabrials, like the not sibling Fabrials, could be powered by Stormlight, which like the ancients would have had an easier time of getting to.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like really inconvenient, like, oh, like this elevator can only be powered by Tower Light. Too bad only one person can ever use it.
I love how the sibling takes issue with like Spren being trapped in gems, but has no problem with Spren being trapped as an elevator for thousands of years.
It is a little weird, but I guess the difference is that the Spren chose to do that.
Yeah,
be an elevator.
Yeah. Huh.
Hey, the whole we chose scene would have been so much less impactful if
we chose to be an elevator.
Adolin and Shallan are going up an elevator, and the elevator's like, we chose. Neat, though.
Yeah.
Kind of paints some details onto the whole picture.
I think I'm actually a little more confused, but that's okay.
I'm with you.
I'm actually a little more confused.
Yeah. What are you confused about there?
Like, if the other Fabrials that they found were the ancient Fabrials, then wouldn't those also have Spren trapped in Shadesmar?
They do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what Brandon's saying. So Navani is confused because she's like, I can see the Spren for this elevator, but I don't see the gem in the physical realm where that Spren is trapped. And she's like, what the hell?
Because she doesn't realize that the Spren is the metal, not the gem. Because her understanding of Fabrials is Spren go in gems.
Okay, let's move on. That's fine. That's fine. I'm tired. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now.
We'll do a full Fabrial episode eventually.
And I'll just sit here silent through the whole thing and be like, oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's also that, like, attractors and like all of those other Fabrials, like she understands like attractors and all of those. So like she wasn't trying to figure out the missing link. Like she didn't think too deeply about those because like she thought she already understood them. It was soulcasters were the sticking point because like she didn't understand anything about them.
I guess. I guess if you just saw like all these Spren there, wouldn't you? I don't know. Wouldn't you think it's like, hey, there's some commonality between these? I don't know. Okay. Neat.
I think she thought she understood more than she actually did.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat. Well, I do want to see why Spren would ever turn into devices, because that typically doesn't sound ultra useful. Like, I want some more info about that, you know?
Agreed.
We'll see. We'll throw it in book 5 with all the other things that we need to find out in book 5.
Yeah. There's not a lot to do in book 5. It'll be easy to put that in. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Easy. Cool. So there might be some more Word of Brandon episodes after whatever AMA or something there is, but well, I don't know. I don't know when we'll cover those, but we will cover them. Don't worry. But we're done with this set of Words of Brandon. So let's go on to who's that Cosmere character?
This character is from Roshar.
Menace, Tien,
Tom,
Raise,
Void in drag on a horse.
It's time for who's that Cosmere character? Caw.
Welcome to Who's That Cosmic Character, the game show where you guys send in 4 clues.
5.
5 clues. And a character
You know how to host this.
We do. I realized in the last episode I forgot to say the email address.
Oh, well done.
Just send them.
It'll be on screen in the past.
It'll be on screen.
Yeah.
So send the 5 clues character to wtcc at 17shard.com. And we'll read them.
It's in the description, guys. It's always in the description.
It's in the description. Yeah. So, character number 1 was sent in by DeQuerticy, who added a pronunciation guide.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That is useful. That is useful.
Yep.
We're training our fan base well.
Tier 4, because like QWERTY is obviously the first half of the top row of the keyboard.
QWERTY was taken, maybe.
I can reveal that it's his first name, the D stands for, and the C at the end is his last name.
Oh,
with QWERTY in the middle.
Wow,
there
the
you
mystery
go.
Solved.
Cool. Clue number 1: this character can read and write.
Dalinar.
It's not Dalinar.
Elend.
It is not Elend.
Yasna.
It is not Yasna.
Renarin.
And it is not Renarin.
Mm-hmm.
Clue number 2: this character is an expert in their local investiture.
What does it mean to be an expert?
That is a fair question, though.
Vasher.
It is not Vasher.
Shy.
It is not Shy.
Sazed.
It's not Sazed.
What is an expert?
Magic system, correct?
No.
Local investiture.
Local
Local
investiture.
investiture.
Okay. Sixth of the Dusk.
It is Six of the Dusk.
Oh, all right. Nice.
Those were great guesses. I really liked the next clue. I was hoping we could have got to the next clue, which is this character has been on a boat.
That would have been genuinely helpful.
Yeah. Clue number 4 is this character is aware of other planets, because apparently that is from a WoB that they linked me to.
Oh, huh. Okay.
And
citation needed, and they provided the citation. You can't argue with that.
Also, this character hates Herdazian food, which is also it's another WoB. Yeah,
cool, nice, cool.
God, Sixth of the Dusk is so what?
Someday,
let me go.
I want the story on how Mraize got his AVR. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know, like not this far future Dromonod. I want like Stormlight era. Like how are they getting these AVR through the perpendicularity, you know?
Maybe in a box.
It's called poaching.
You know, the AVR, they can leave their planet. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
in a
Mhm.
sense. Going back to the
Yeah.
Seon thing.
Yeah, well, the AVR are inherently physical, but Radiants can't leave. So
Yeah.
Well, I think it's Radiant can't leave because the Spren can't leave. But the
Yeah.
thing that AVR are bonded to are also worms, which are physical things.
Yeah.
yeah, but Mraze says that Shallan is trapped in the system.
Yeah.
I
The
think
AVR
Shallan could leave. Well, because like she's bonded with Pattern, like Pattern would like keep her tethered. And it's like
The
she
AVR
can't get too far from Pattern.
Yeah.
But the AVR aren't bonded to the worms; they eat the worms, right?
It's like
And then they like live in their intestinal
yeah,
tracts,
it's
like they're
in the
parasites.
guts. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the parasites. That okay.
They're symbiotic entities.
Yeah. Okay, I'll live with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Magical tapeworms.
Pretty much.
Excellent. So this next one was sent in by Call Me Mayday.
Hi, Mayday.
Clue number 1: this character is not human.
Human
was
the
gonna say it.
Colossus.
It's not human, the Colos.
You gotta say it.
Suck.
It is not Sack.
I wanted to guess a Rhythm of War character, but I can't do that.
Sure blood.
It is not Sureblood. Why can't you guess a Rhythm of War character?
Because presumably
Because
they
this
haven't
was
sent them in.
before Rhythm of War, I'm assuming.
You don't
Yeah,
know
good
that.
point.
You don't know.
I'm not going to reveal when it was sent in.
Oh.
Hmm.
You
See,
have
like,
the worst,
that's not
the
fair.
worst poker face. Don't ever
We've been
play poker.
operating under the assumption that these are pre-Rhythm of War for like
Yeah.
a bit.
Okay, I'll allow that this one is pre-Rhythm of War, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe in 2022 we'll get to some Rhythm of War ones.
Yeah. That first Rabonyo one is going to be so good.
I am going to guess Ulida.
It is not
That's the
Ulidar. Clue number 2. This character is on Roshar.
Oh.
Gallant.
It is not Callan.
Gotta guess both horses. I was gonna.
It is not Leshwi.
I was gonna guess Cokerly, but I don't think Cokerly's on Roshar.
Probably not.
Probably not. Relaine.
It is not Relaine.
Arklow.
And it is not Arklow. Clue number 3. This character is prompt.
Ooh.
Huh.
Interesting
Oh.
clue.
It's Cusicesh.
It is Cusicesh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I thought after getting a Cusiceshcast WoB, you got to get a Cusiceshcast WTCC in there.
Nice. Yeah, because Cusicesh is very prompt and has strange
Always on time.
faces.
Well, it was
what?
like 742 or 642, something like that.
Something.
Like that, yeah. Very exact on their time. Clue number 4 was this character is draining to be around, and clue number 5 is this character is an important cultural icon.
Mm,
Good
That
clues.
was a good one.
good.
I like
Yeah.
that one.
Nice.
Just had a weird thought for a potential future WoB. Ask about like how Cusicesh would react to daylight savings time.
That was a very interesting question.
That's really amusing.
That's a fascinating question.
because if it's like
I'm not
doesn't matter the
Yeah, no, it's probably the irreality perception.
of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Unless it's even more fundamental than that, and Cusicesh is reflecting like a specific event that happened at
Mm.
Yeah.
like if the timestamp is like transcends the human perception of time, and it's
yeah.
Yeah.
more spiritual in nature.
I mean, I'm adding what is Roshar's axial tilt to my questions.
Oh God. See, what if, guys? What if with Cusicesh, it's Cusicesh the Protector? So maybe it's like made up of honor sprint or something. I don't know. So
What?
No, Cusicesh is not a radiant friend. We know that.
Yeah. But this amalgamation of dead honor spread, maybe, it can't be.
Maybe that's where all the shard blades are.
Yeah, it's in Cusicesh. Oh, nailed
Cusiceshcast
it.
is shard blades.
That's the time of the recreants. Oh my god.
Oh, wait. Cusiceshcast the protector. The thrill is in the ocean, but secure. It's being protected
By Cusicesh. That's right.
They threw it at Cusiceshcast.
But real talk. Like they were in Cassiter, and Cassiter could be near where Feverstone Keep is, and so it could be relevant to the Recreants. It could be the time of the Recreants. Would that not be crazy?
Yeah,
I mean,
yep.
I've jokingly suggested that like I had a question where I asked Brandon if the Recreants happened at a specific time globally, but he raffled me.
Yeah, what a surprise. Cusicesh is the dead shard blades.
Imagine all
of
of
the recreants.
Alternative, it is not the time of the recreants. It's the time of Biomishram being captured.
Ooh. It's made up of all the souls of the singers there. Or something.
It had far-reaching effects on everything on Roshar.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Cusicesh could have been a thing beforehand, and then it's like something broke with it.
Okay, but can you imagine all of the Radiants just going, okay, so at 0640, we are going to break our oaths. And so all the Windrunners and Stonewards land, and they're like looking at their shard watches.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They don't need to be weapons of war.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they probably didn't have Fabrial clocks at the time, so I don't know how.
No.
But their Spren could be.
Yeah, they could have convinced the Spren to be a watch forever.
What if the Recreants was really that they just wanted to create a cool Spren like Cusicesh?
That was the purpose of the Recreants.
No, we can't be Radiants, but we could get this other weird Spren. That'll really screw them up good.
It's gonna mess up with people's ideas of history for thousands of years.
You can find us on 17shard.com for all your
Thank you for listening to our mini Cusiceshcast.
We didn't expect this would be at the end of this show either, so, the WoBs take us where the WoBs take us. Find us on 17shard.com.
420.
Not in my time zone.
Not in my time zone.
Not in my time zone.
All times are
Cusicesh
one.
doesn't care about your time zones.
Cusicesh doesn't. You can find all this nonsense on 17shard.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. You can subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a review on iTunes for this. And if you like this, then you can support us on Patreon. Cool. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you next time for things.
Bye.
Bye.
Send this episode to your grandma.
Yes, she'll really appreciate the Cusicesh at the end. Grandmas are well known for loving Cusicesh.
My grandma texts me every day saying, "Is there any Cusiceshcast news?" And now I can say yes. I'm so excited.
9 out of 10 grandmas agree.
Yep. Cusicesh is the protector of teeth, of dentures.
Mm-hmm.
It's all staying in.
We took all of our suppressed tangents and nonsense.
We pulled it at the end.
Seriously though, I'm like, no, I have to leave at a certain time for a doctor's appointment. No tangents, and we're just all bursting out. We're actually a little ahead of schedule, so it works out. This is all staying in the episode.
That's why. It's like we knew at the end we had some extra time, so we're like, finally, all of our nonsense and tangents can come out.
Protector of dentures.
Super saturated tangents.
Cusicesh brand toothpaste. The most protection that grandmas need.
Yeah. Oh,
sure.
Man.
Bye. Caw.